My name is Rosa Booster. I'm the director of the film called Master of Light.
My name is Roger Ross Williams. I am the producer of Master of Light.
And my name is George Anthony Morton, and I am the subject of the film Master of Light.
Well, my grandmother was an artist, so that's when like the seed was planted to make films about artists, because that was the first documentary I ever made. And for me, like making a film in collaboration with artists is very inspiring, because there's so many art forms that come together, and I think we as artists are really inspired by each other, which yeah, makes a great process. And I learned about George through a mutual friend who met George in New York and told me about his story. And he just had a New York Times article that came out, and I read about the story and was just blown away by his artwork. And that's when I reached out, and that's where it started for me.
It's a powerful story. Rosa approached me at I was screening a film in Amsterdam, and Rosa approached me and she said, I'm working on this film, and she said, would you look at my teaser? And I get a lot of that. And I was like, I'm whatever. And then I think it was, I don't know if it was like months later, was it months? Months later, I just in a weak moment looked at the teaser. Like I just was like, okay, I'll just check this out. And I was like, what? Oh my God, this guy is so incredibly talented. And this filmmaker is so incredibly talented, and it was so beautiful. And I remember I called my husband in the room. I was like, you got to see this. You got to see this. I think I just discovered an incredible talent in this and a powerful story. I've got to make this film. So I called Rosa and met her for lunch, and I said, I'm making your film. And she was very emotional. And that's how it all began. And I was just totally blown away by George's art, but George's story and the power of art to heal and transform you out of your predicament. I've made so many movies about that, about the power of art, the power of storytelling. And George is a storyteller. So, and I also make films about underdogs. So this is the ultimate underdog. It ticks all the boxes for me. Power of art, power of story, underdog.
It's been quite overwhelming because the film was so immersive in my own healing journey and my own practice and trying to juggle all the elements in the film. And it was a beautiful struggle, I would say, a very beautiful struggle, but I'm honored for the opportunity. It's really humbling. Being able to find light within darkness is probably the best kind of light. I saw this thing where, it's just some story, a guy was searching for something, and he was looking in the wrong space, but he was looking where it was dark over there, and he could have been looking for it in the dark, but he was looking in the light. And he was asked, why are you looking in the light? Or why are you looking over there? You didn't lose it over there. And he said, I'm just looking in the light. You know, I thought I'd search in the light. So I don't know. It's something about finding inner light during, darker times, because it's all you can do.
When we met, George's biggest inspiration was Rembrandt. And I'm from Amsterdam. I live right around the corner from where Rembrandt used to live. And for us to meet and for me to see Rembrandt, who I've been like seeing all my life, through George's eyes was truly amazing, and like made me appreciate classical art in a completely new way. And then we kind of like went on this quest for Black representation in classical art from the 16th and 17th century, and found that like the only depictions of Black people were as enslaved people and as like the symbol of prestige for white people. But then there was also, and maybe George can speak to that a little better, we found that there were symbols in classical art of Black dignity and people being dignified and painted as symbol of the divine, and we don't really see those artworks. And I think what was so important is that we followed George while he painted like his family members and truly dignified them and made them feel seen in a way that maybe they haven't been seen before. And I think that was like really touching to be able to be part of that process.
Yeah, I love the way George gives dignity, as you said, to his community. You know, Ibram X. Kendi says the only thing wrong with Black people is that you think something is wrong with Black people, and he just by painting them and finding that inner light, it's such a beautiful way. George just brings dignity and breaks down those sort of, you know, those racist ideas. And I learned so much in the film. Also, appreciation of classical, you know, painting and the Dutch masters. And when you say, where does that light come from? I just love that moment. And then the painting of where the African guy is like stealing.
Yeah.
And how they were depicted. And then when you go to Egypt and your sort of transformation is so powerful.
In a lot of ways, what we do, back to the light and dark thing, I mean, as a painter, I'm really just painting light. And Master of Light initially felt like a lofty title and presumptuous, and it's like, but it's starting to make sense now. You know, my daughter who's in the film, her name literally means light, the light. And the more back to the original question or theme, the more I went into classical art and looking at the images, as Rosa said, we would see these depictions of Black people in a more elevated and dignified way, and it would just be kind of hidden. We wouldn't see a lot of those images. Initially, they were emblems of power in paintings in those images, but the further back we went, we would see the old masters depicting them much differently than they did after and during like the period of the transatlantic slave trade. And so that was very, very eye-opening for me because I hadn't been shown anything like that in my textbooks at school, in the world museums. It's just not put out front. And we had to travel far and wide and ask museums to pull pictures out of the storage. And yeah, it was quite a journey, but I learned that Black people had been elevated in art a long time ago. Our favorite old masters would depict them slightly more dignified than the caricatures that we see today.